The smell of rich indigo and vibrant Ankara fabric hung heavy in the air, a sweet perfume of prosperity. Mama Ngozi and Papa Emeka, their faces etched with the wisdom of years and the joy of faith, watched over their sprawling fabric empire in Onitsha Market. Their main shop, a veritable Aladdin's cave of textiles, shimmered under the hot Nigerian sun, flanked by 5 colossal warehouses bursting with every imaginable cloth. Everyone knew Ngozi and Sons Fabrics. It was the biggest, the best, and undeniably blessed. Other traders often whispered, not always kindly, about their unstoppable success. But Mama and Papa knew the secret ingredient wasn't just sharp business acumen, it was unwavering faith. They poured their lives into their son, Daniel, teaching him the intricate dance of trades and deals, but more importantly, imbuing him with a deep love for God. Daniel, my son, Papa Emeka would often say, his voice a comforting rumble, it is God, and only God, who lifts you to great heights and shields you from unseen troubles. Business is about more than just money, it's about grace. Their staff, a loyal family, were also raised in the Lord's way. Every morning, before the shutters even creaked open, the echo of fervent prayers filled the shop. And as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in fiery hues, prayers of gratitude would rise again. Their lives, both personal and professional, seemed touched by a divine hand. Their faith was their shield, their anchor, their endless wellspring of peace. Daniel, a bright-eyed boy with a quick wit and an even quicker grasp of numbers, absorbed the business lessons like a sponge. He learned to differentiate between silk and cotton, to haggle with a smile, and to spot a good deal from a mile away. He would sit for hours, listening to his parents recount stories of God's faithfulness in their business, how challenges melted away with prayer, and how seemingly impossible deals materialized out of thin air. He saw the tangible evidence of their faith in the constant flow of customers and the ever-expanding warehouses. Years spun by, and Daniel grew into a handsome, confident young man. He was a force of nature in the market, bringing in containers brimming with exotic fabrics from distant lands every single week. Daniel's deals became the talk of Onitsha, his name synonymous with quality and abundance. He was a popular vendor, respected for his sharp mind and tireless energy. Yet, beneath the veneer of success, a subtle shift was taking place. The spiritual foundation his parents had so painstakingly laid began to crack. He admired their business prowess, but he secretly dismissed their unwavering belief in the power of prayer. He saw it as a quaint tradition, a comforting ritual, but not a fundamental driver of success. He believed in hard work, in clever strategies, in seizing opportunities. God, to him, was a distant concept, not an active partner in his daily life. His parents, with their keen spiritual discernment, noticed the growing chasm. Mama Ngozi would gently remind him, Daniel, always remember where your blessings truly come from. Prayer is not a waste of time, it's your lifeline. Papa Emeka would add, his eyes filled with concern, a strong relationship with God is your greatest asset, far more valuable than any fabric or profit. But Daniel, caught in the intoxicating whirlwind of his burgeoning success, would nod, feigning agreement, while his mind raced ahead to the next big deal, the next container, the next expansion. He was carefree, dismissive of their gentle admonitions, convinced that his own cleverness was the true engine of his prosperity. He was too busy building an empire to pause for what he considered unnecessary spiritual exercises. Then, the unthinkable happened. In quick succession, Mama Ngozi and Papa Emeka, the pillars of his world, passed away peacefully in their sleep, leaving a gaping void in Daniel's heart and in the very fabric of Ngozi and Sons. The entire market mourned with him. Daniel, though heartbroken, found solace in the sheer scale of the inheritance. The business, now entirely his, was a colossal machine, humming with efficiency. He expanded even further, cementing his reputation as the biggest importer and exporter of fabrics in all of Nigeria. The business grew exponentially, a testament to his innate talent. But with his parents passing, the last vestiges of his prayer life crumbled. The morning devotions in the shop, once a vibrant chorus of faith, dwindled into silence. The long-serving staff, those who had witnessed Mama and Papa's unwavering faith, began to grumble. Baba Daniel, one of the older women, Mama Ada, ventured cautiously, her voice laced with concern, we haven't had our morning prayers in weeks. It's not right. This business has always been blessed by God. Daniel, preoccupied with spreadsheets and shipping schedules, waved her off impatiently. Mama Ada, please. We have too much work to do. Business is about strategy, not wasting time praying. Work harder, think smarter, that's how we expand. He saw the appeals as a distraction, a throwback to an outdated way of doing things. He had moved on, or so he believed, to a more modern approach to business. The once daily prayers became a distant memory, replaced by the relentless hum of machinery and the ceaseless chatter of commerce. Some of the older staff tried to reason with him, their voices earnest, almost pleading. Baba Daniel, don't you see? It was the prayers that kept us through the lean times, that protected us from harm. Please, don't stop the prayers. But Daniel was deaf to their pleas. Look, he would retort, his voice firm, the business is thriving, isn't it? My strategies are working. Stop clinging to old superstitions and start thinking about how we can double our profits next year. That's real progress. He was convinced that his success was solely a result of his own brilliant mind and tireless efforts. He even went as far as to ridicule the idea of divine intervention, albeit subtly. When a shipment arrived miraculously early, saving a crucial deadline, he would attribute it to good planning or efficient logistics, never to any unseen hand. He became increasingly dismissive of any talk of God's favor, convinced that he was the master of his own destiny. The vibrant spiritual atmosphere that had once permeated Ngozi and Sons evaporated, replaced by a cold, calculating pursuit of profit. The shop, once a sanctuary of faith, became just another business, albeit a very successful one. The once bright smiles of the staff began to dim, their sense of purpose replaced by a quiet resignation. Life continued its relentless march, and Daniel's empire continued to grow. He was at the pinnacle of his career, a titan in the fabric industry. He had everything he had ever dreamed of: wealth, influence, and an undisputed position at the top. He often looked at his vast warehouses, filled to the brim with colorful fabrics, and felt a surge of pride. This, he thought, was the fruit of his labor, his intelligence, his sheer will. He rarely, if ever, thought of his parents' constant refrain about God's blessings. He was a self-made man, or so he believed, and his success was a testament to his own abilities. Then, one sweltering night, as the market lay shrouded in the deep sleep of exhaustion, a terrifying orange glow erupted from the distance. A fire. Panic rippled through the sleeping city. The flames, fed by the dry air and tightly packed goods, spread with frightening speed. Onitsha Market, usually a bustling hub of commerce, became a roaring inferno. Daniel's heart pounded in his chest as he received the dreaded call. Boss. The market is on fire. It's everywhere. He raced through the night, his mind reeling, a cold dread seizing him. He envisioned his vast empire, years of painstaking work, turning to ashes. The scene that greeted him was apocalyptic. Flames licked at the sky, devouring shops whole, sending plumes of black smoke into the night. He pushed through the terrified crowd, his eyes scanning for his warehouses. One by one, he saw them consumed by the raging inferno. The heat was unbearable, the crackling of burning wood deafening. His 5 warehouses, once symbols of his prosperity, were now just skeletal structures, glowing embers against the dark sky. Despair washed over him, a cold, bitter wave. Everything was gone, everything he had built, everything he had worked for. Only his main shop, by some stroke of luck or divine intervention, remained untouched, a lonely island in a sea of destruction. But amidst the widespread devastation, something truly astonishing unfolded. A warehouse, nestled right next to one of Daniel's now destroyed behemoths, stood completely unscathed. Not a single charm mark, not a wisp of smoke, not even a singed leaf. It was as if an invisible force field had protected it from the raging inferno that consumed everything around it. The fire, inexplicably, had veered around it, burning everything else in its path before continuing its destructive journey to the next warehouse. People stared in disbelief, their jaws dropping, their whispers filling the smoke-filled air. Look. Boba Chinidu's warehouse. It's untouched. How is that possible? The fire was all around it. The murmurs grew louder, morphing into a chorus of bewildered questions.